Hello, dear children. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jisha Joe. In this session, we shall discuss a few important MCQs from the chapter Transpiration. But before I start with the discussion, let me just remind you to do subscribe to my channel, and if you find my videos helpful, do share with your friends so that they can also benefit from it. So let us start our discussion of the MCQs from the chapter Transpiration. Moving on to the first question. Evaporative loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant. Options are guttation, bleeding, transpiration, transpiration pull. So let us have a look at each option. Guttation. What is guttation? It is the loss of water in the form of water droplets through the Hydathodes or through the vein endings. B. Bleeding. Bleeding is the loss of plant sap from the injured part of the plant. Transpiration is the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of the plant. And option D, transpiration pull, that is the pull exerted on the water column in the xylem as a result of transpiration, which helps in the upward movement of water and mineral salts, that is which helps in the ascent of sap. So what is the correct answer? Just look at the question once again. Evaporative loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant. So evaporative loss of water means water in the form of water vapor is lost from the plant. So which is the correct option? Option C, transpiration. Question 2. An indicator of moisture. Options are pyrogallic acid, potassium hydroxide, cobalt chloride, sodium hydroxide. So we know pyrogallic acid, what is that? It is a chemical which absorbs oxygen from the air, and it is used in respiration experiments. We use pyrogallic acid. Option B, potassium hydroxide. It is used in photosynthesis experiments for the absorption of carbon dioxide from the air. Cobalt chloride is used in transpiration experiments. It is an indicator of moisture. Dry cobalt chloride paper is blue in color, and when it absorbs moisture, it turns pink. And option D, sodium hydroxide, that is also a chemical that is used to absorb carbon dioxide from the air. So what is the correct answer? Answer is cobalt chloride. Moving on to question 3. Device used to measure the rate of water intake by a plant. Options are manometer, hydrometer, potometer and photometer. Now let us have a look at each of the options. Manometer, it is a device or an instrument used for measuring pressure. Hydrometer, it's a device used for measuring the relative densities of liquids. Potometer is a device used to measure the water intake, the rate of water intake by a plant. And photometer is an instrument or a device that is used to measure the intensity of light. Light intensities are measured using photometer. So what is the correct answer? Which is the device that is used to measure the rate of water intake by a plant? Option C, potometer. Question 4. Color of dry cobalt chloride paper. We have already discussed it in question 2. What is the color of dry cobalt chloride paper? It is blue in color, and on exposure to moisture or as it absorbs moisture, it turns pink in color. So what is the correct answer? Answer is blue. Question 5. Which of the following is true about cuticle? What is cuticle? Cuticle is a waxy coating on the surface of the epidermis. Okay, let us have a look at the options. It is a waxy layer on the epidermis of leaves. Okay, that is true. Desert plants tend to have thick cuticle. That is also true. Desert plants have thick cuticle. That is an adaptation made by desert plants to reduce the rate of transpiration. Now, it serves to prevent transpiration. Yes, thick cuticle in desert plants serves to prevent transpiration. So, which of the following is true about cuticle? All the options are correct. So, the correct option is all the above. It is a waxy layer on the surface of leaves or on the epidermis of leaves. Desert plants tend to have thick cuticle. Thick cuticle serves to prevent transpiration. So all the options are correct. So all the above, that is the correct option. Which of the following is true about cuticle? So all the above. Option D, all the above. But we know some amount of transpiration can occur through cuticle also. That is one of the type of transpiration. One of a kind of transpiration is cuticular transpiration. Very less amount of water loss in the form of water vapor can occur also through cuticle. Okay. But all the options given here are true about cuticle. So the answer is all the above. Correct answer, option D, all the above. Question 6. The Potometer, which demonstrates unequal transpiration from the two surfaces of a dorsiventral leaf. So let us have a look at the various options. Option A, farmer's Potometer, B, Ganong's Potometer, C, Darwin's Potometer, and D, Garreau's Potometer. So what is farmer's Potometer? Farmer's Potometer is used to measure the rate of water intake by a plant. The same as in the case of Ganong's Potometer also, the function is the same. Both farmer's Potometer and Ganong's Potometer are used to measure the rate of water intake by a plant. The third option, Darwin's Potometer, is used to demonstrate the suction force created due to transpiration. And Garreau's Potometer is used to demonstrate unequal transpiration from the two surfaces of a dorsiventral leaf. So the question is, the Potometer which demonstrates unequal transpiration from the two surfaces of a dorsiventral leaf. Answer is option D, Garreau's Potometer. Moving on to the next question. Question 7. Special pores through which guttation takes place. Okay, what are those pores through which guttation takes place? Options are lenticels, stomata, Hydathodes, and guard cells. So we know guttation takes place through the Hydathodes. What are lenticels? Lenticels are minute openings on the bark of old stems. Stomata, we know minute pores on the surfaces of leaves. On the epidermis of leaves, you can see the stomata. Guard cells are the bean-shaped cells present at the opening of the stoma or the stomatal pore. So, which is the correct answer? Special pores through which guttation takes place? Hydathodes. Option C. Hydathodes is the correct answer. Next question, question 8. Which is not true with regard to bleeding? Okay, question is, which is not true with regard to bleeding? Option A, it happens due to injury. Yes, that is true. Bleeding occurs when the plant gets injured. Root pressure is the cause of bleeding. Yes, that is also true. Root pressure is the cause of bleeding. C, plant sap escapes from the cut surface. That is also true because bleeding occurs when there is an injury or cut. So, plant sap escapes from the cut surface. That option is also true. It occurs during early mornings. That is a false statement. Bleeding can occur anytime. There is no special time. Whenever injury takes place, bleeding can occur. So, bleeding occurs due to injury. So, option D it occurs during early mornings is the correct option. The question is which is not true with regard to bleeding. So option D, it occurs during early mornings. Next question. Question number 9. Which among the following are two ways of exudation? Now, what is meant by exudation? Exudation is the loss of water along with the dissolved substances in the form of, that is in the liquid form. Okay, not as vapor, in the liquid form. That is exudation, loss of water along with dissolved substances in the form of water or in liquid form is called as exudation. Now look at the options bleeding and transpiration. So here in the option A, bleeding is a type or is one of the ways of exudation, but transpiration, since water is lost in the form of water vapor, it cannot be considered as exudation. Okay, now second option, transpiration and guttation. Here, as we saw earlier, transpiration cannot be considered as a way of exudation, whereas guttation can be regarded as one of the ways of exudation, because during guttation water means along with the dissolved minerals come out in liquid form as water droplets through the Hydathodes. Option C, guttation and bleeding. Yes, that is the correct option. Guttation and bleeding are the two ways of exudation. Option D, all the above, is wrong. So the correct option, which once again I shall read the question, which among the following are the two ways of exudation? So which are the two ways? Option C, guttation and bleeding. Question number 10. Transpiration is of great importance to plants because what are the significance of transpiration? Okay, so it's of great importance to plants. What are the reasons? It helps in the distribution of water and minerals. Very correct. It provides suction force for the ascent of sap. The transpiration pull, the pull exerted on the column of water in the xylem causes the upward movement of water and minerals, which is called as the ascent of sap. It gives a cooling effect to the plant. Option D, all the above. So what is the correct option? Yes, option D, all the above. Question 11. Which among the following is not an adaptation in plants to reduce transpiration? Okay, question is which is not an adaptation? So look at the options: narrow leaves, thick cuticle, water content of leaves, sunken stomata. So first option, narrow leaves, yes, that is an adaptation. Narrow leaves reduces the rate of transpiration because the surface area is less, so less number of stomata will be present, so less transpiration will take place. Thick cuticle, yes, that is also an adaptation to reduce transpiration. See, water content of leaves, that is not an adaptation, that is an internal factor which affects transpiration. And option D, sunken stomata, yes, that is also an adaptation to reduce transpiration. Okay, when stomata remains sunken, what happens? There is lesser chance for water or lesser rate of transpiration. So what is the correct answer? I'll read the question once again. Which among the following is not an adaptation in plants to reduce transpiration? So option A, B and D are adaptations in plants to reduce transpiration, but option C is not an adaptation. It is an internal factor which affects the rate of transpiration. So the correct answer is water content of leaves. Question 12. The rate of transpiration is high at, okay, what are the different factors that affect transpiration? If you look at the options, in the options you can see the factors are light intensity, humidity and high atmospheric pressure. These are all external factors that affect the rate of transpiration. So if you look at the first options, so just before looking at the options, we have identified what are the factors that are mentioned. Now you can just think about it. What is it? Light intensity. How does light intensity affect the rate of transpiration? When there is excess light, more transpiration will occur. Okay, so high light intensity. Now look at the options which are having the answer, means the option as high light intensity. Option A, B and D, we have high light intensity, but in option C it is written low light intensity, so that option is ruled out. Okay, option C is not correct. Now let us compare the options A, B and D. So first factor that is correct, high light intensity. Rate of transpiration is high at high light intensity. Now the second factor, humidity. When does the rate of transpiration increases or when is it high? When the atmosphere is less humid, isn't it? When the humid content or humidity, moisture content in the atmosphere is high, the rate of outward diffusion of water vapor decreases, thereby reducing the rate of transpiration. So the rate of transpiration is high when the atmosphere is less humid. So look at the answers which are having low humidity, options B and D. You can see that low humidity is the answer there, because and you can rule out the first option, option A, because that is high humidity. So we have ruled out two options. Option C is wrong, option A is also ruled out. Okay, now we shall compare the options B and D. So if you take the first two factors, the rate of transpiration is high at high light intensity and low humidity. That is correct. Now moving on to the third factor, atmospheric pressure. How does atmospheric pressure affect the rate of transpiration? Transpiration rate increases with decrease in atmospheric pressure. As the atmospheric pressure decrease, the rate of transpiration increases. So what is the correct answer? Option D, isn't it? High light intensity, low humidity and low atmospheric pressure. So the rate of transpiration is high at high light intensity, low humidity and low atmospheric pressure. So I hope you have understood how to answer such a question. So that is the correct option, option D. Question 13. Increase in carbon dioxide concentration around the leaf results in. So what is, we know carbon dioxide concentration is also a factor, an external factor, one of the external factors that affect transpiration. The normal carbon dioxide concentration in the air is 0.03%, and increase from this normal level causes stomatal closure, resulting in a decrease in the rate of transpiration. So let me read the question once again. Increase in carbon dioxide concentration around the leaf results in. Option A, complete closure of stomata, complete opening of stomata, incomplete opening of stomata, no effect on stomatal closure. So option D is wrong. We know carbon dioxide concentration has an effect on stomatal opening. So how does it affect? So option D is ruled out. Now the other three options, complete closure of stomata, complete opening of stomata, incomplete opening of stomata. So we have seen that an increase in carbon dioxide concentration causes the stomata to close. Complete closure of stomata takes place as a result of increase in carbon dioxide concentration, thereby reducing transpiration. So the correct answer is option A, complete closure of stomata. Question 14. Identify the correct sequence of parts involved in stomatal transpiration. So, what is the pathway of the movement or the pathway of water movement for the movement of water vapor for stomatal transpiration? So, starting with similarly, just as we have done in the previous question, that the same way we have to do this also. So I think we have a diagram in our text showing the movement of water through the leaves. That is a cross section of the leaf is given there, and with the arrows, the movement of water is indicated using arrows in that diagram. So you have to be familiar with that diagram, then only we will be able to answer this question. So we know the water reaches the leaves through the xylem vessel. So xylem vessel is the first the word that should be chosen. So option D is wrong anyway, it is not the mesophyll cells. So water enters or reaches the leaves through the xylem vessel. So option D has been ruled out. Let us have a look at the other three options. So from the xylem vessel, water moves into the mesophyll cells or intercellular space. Mesophyll cells refers to the cells that are present or the tissue present between the upper and lower epidermis. Okay, so from the xylem, the water enters into the mesophyll cells. Okay, from the mesophyll cell, so option B has been ruled out, isn't it? Now we have to compare option A and option C. D and B has been ruled out. Now comparison between A and C. So from the xylem vessel, water enters into the mesophyll cells. From the mesophyll cells, the water moves into the intercellular space. Yes, what is intercellular space? The space is present between the cells of the mesophyll, especially the spongy tissue, the spongy parenchyma. Okay, so water moves from the mesophyll cells into the intercellular space. Okay, then from the intercellular space to the substomatal space. The substomatal space or the substomatal cavity is the space that is seen just close to the stomata. It is from the substomatal space or the cavity water evaporates as water vapor through the open stoma. Okay, stoma is the opening of the stomata is called as the stoma. So which is the correct answer? Option C is the correct answer, isn't it? Water from the xylem vessel moves into the mesophyll cells, from the mesophyll cells to the intercellular space, from the intercellular space to the substomatal space, and from the substomatal space through the stoma, water moves out in the form of water vapor. So option C is the correct answer. Xylem vessels, mesophyll cells, intercellular space, substomatal space, and stoma. Okay, so I hope you have got an idea of how to answer such questions. Okay. Now moving on to the last question of this session, question number 15. Which among the following is an internal factor affecting transpiration? So look at the options: temperature, wind velocity, water content of leaf, and humidity. Question is, which is an internal factor affecting transpiration? So which is an internal factor? Option C is the correct answer, water content of leaves. The other options, temperature, wind velocity, and humidity, are external factors that affect the rate of transpiration. As temperature increases, rate of transpiration increases. As wind velocity increases, rate of transpiration increases. As the rate of transpiration decreases when the atmosphere is humid. Okay, so water content in leaves, that is an internal factor which affects the rate of transpiration. So when there is a decrease in the water content inside the leaves due to the insufficient absorption of water by the roots, what happens naturally? There is a chance for wilting of the leaves and the dying of the plant if transpiration occurs. So naturally what happens? The stomata will close, so that whatever water is present in the plant is not lost as a result of transpiration. So that is a natural mechanism to prevent or to conserve water by the plant. So that is an internal factor which affects the rate of transpiration. So the correct option or the correct answer is option C, water content of leaves. So with this, we have come to the end of this session. I hope this session is clear to you. If you have any doubts regarding any of the questions, please ask your doubts and give your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.